today, guys, we're going to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is going to be that the economy is a little weird.
You don't grow the thing and then it's cruise control. It requires typically more discipline, more attention, better service, better product, better everything.
We thought the best thing we could bring to you guys today is going to be some survival tactics.
To get your business to $1 million, you got to be good at selling your services and product, and your team has got to be good at selling your services and product. What do you really want to do? Do you really want to grow a business, or do you want to just look like you have a big business? Welcome to the 7-Figure Salon podcast with Rachel and Drew. I'm Drew.
I'm Rachel.
Welcome to the show. We're going to dive in the main game, salon survival tactics for 2024. But first, a quick update on our life. I think the most important thing in our life is I'm not sick anymore.
Yeah.
I've been
Thank God.
back to back. I don't know what happened, but felt like expletive.
All the ladies listening to this, you know how men are when they're sick. It's quite dramatic. So very glad that Drew's not sick.
Well, let me further dive into that. I'm super active, so I like to do things. I like to be physical. I like to run. I like to, just lift and do jiu-jitsu. And when I can't do that, everything, my mind doesn't work as well. Like when I'm sharp, I hate it. So I had a tough time. I wasn't like on my deathbed or anything like that, but it was just brutal. It was COVID. We got COVID again. Mm-hmm. And then kids.
I didn't get anything else. You got the flu or something. I have no idea.
Something gnarly. Yeah. But we are good to go.
Yeah. Frequent hot teas at Starbucks. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You okay over there, Josh?
Just tripping over chairs.
Okay, so today, guys, we're going to talk about kind of the big elephant in the room, which is going to be that the economy is a little weird. And I think...
Election year. Yeah,
election year, for sure. There's obviously very crazy things going on over the pond. And, I think, like, one of the you're gonna have to.
This chairs.
That chair is squeaking. I don't know what's going on.
The squeakiest chair.
Your chair is as old as my chair. My chair doesn't do that. So anyway, we're gonna talk about the obvious, right? So obviously, world's kind of weird, and if you think otherwise, I think you're delusional. The world is definitely weird. We have friends all over the country. Even in other countries, and people that own businesses, not just salons, all kinds of other businesses. And the common trend is that the world is a little weird. So we thought the best thing we could bring to you guys today is going to be some survival tactics. And in no way are we trying to scare you, create any type of, I don't know, what would you say?
Fear tactic?
Fear, yeah, not the case. But I want to make sure that we are always going to give you guys content that's actually relatable and actionable for what's going on currently in the life, in your life, in your world, etc. So we're going to dive straight in because there's quite a few things, quite a few tactics that we want to roll out to you guys today. But before we do that, I want to share with you a couple of things. Mastermind. Mm-hmm. It is coming in quick. It will be, by the time this actually airs, it'll probably just be a few weeks before Mastermind, but it's going to be happening March 23rd through the 26th here in our hometown. And what would you say about Mastermind? Like if you had to describe Mastermind, this is something we're putting absolutely everything into. I was talking to now a new buddy. Shout out to Chris. He's doing some really cool stuff. Chris Maggie with some men's hair install. Super cool. I don't want to give away his bread and butter, but it's really, really impressive stuff. He's coming on. I was just talking about the event. Like we're just putting freaking everything we got into this thing. Mm-hmm. Like every dollar, every literally piece of energy, everything we can put into this event at our current ability is going into it. Yeah. So and then some. Yeah. So our whole team's gonna be there. We have like 55 people on our team.
Our whole budget, our whole time, our whole attention, like it's all riding on this event. So we're excited / nervous like anyone. Like there's always the thing to do. There's always this uncertainty to step into, and you just got to keep doing that.
Yeah, because each year this event gets bigger and it gets larger, and there's more demand and more people that want to come and all of that. So, as we were giving the people what they want, right? Like that obviously incurs more risk and more, stuff for us. So yeah, this mastermind's gonna be really special. Also, simultaneously, we are actually in the works of creating something very, very, very cool. A special project that we're gonna kind of just leave it that. And we've been working on this for probably a year or more, and we're really excited to finally unveil what that is. And we will actually be announcing that at the mastermind. So if you're gonna be at mastermind, make sure that your eyes are open and ears are tuned in, because we're going to be debuting that secret project. So I think we could kind of just like relate the feeling, I think, as far as like what the world kind of is feeling like for most. I think the closest feeling or comparison would maybe be like that weirdness like prior to COVID, and where everyone's kind of like, okay, there's stuff going on, clients are starting to cancel, like there's all these different things happening. Clients are like, no, I don't want to get the full today, I think I'll get the partial. Let's skip the cut, I'll leave wet today, all these different, like they're still coming in 100%, but they are going to start making some adjustments, right? And even with subscriptionary things, like there's adjustments that we've even made, just like as we always go through line by line on our accounting, I'm just kind of like, YouTube TV, like, do we really use that? Cancel, canceled. Like that's kind of like what we've been doing, and we typically do that every year anyway, but especially like as we view, like as we obviously learn more about money and view our money in a different way, it's just kind of like one of those things you look at and you're like, I would rather spend that $100 over here doing this thing over here that'll actually help make me another $100, Ads, yes. So, but the 2020 comparison, the reason I bring that up is because sometimes like it can feel like that. It can feel like kind of this like, this like uneasy, like I don't know what to do, therefore I do nothing. And I want to make sure that you guys know that doing nothing is not going to help your situation if you find yourself creeping into a situation. It's important that you do something, and the something that you do is actually very strategic. So we're going to share with you guys several tactics today. I want you to write these down. These are going to be super, super helpful, because this is stuff like obviously looking backwards in time, I'm like, man, I wish I would have known this. I wish somebody would have told us this. But just like the rest of the world, we're kind of like rolling the dice trying to figure it out at that time. And now obviously 4 years later, much wiser, much stronger, and our business is obviously still growing above and beyond whatever we did in those years.
And it's still challenging the way it was year one.
Yeah.
Like you don't grow the thing and then it's cruise control. It requires typically more discipline, more attention, better management, better service, better product, better everything.
There's maintenance. Yeah. Like you can't just like expect, I see this a lot where people like, they open their business and they're expecting that, okay, I'm done, I can get back to doing hair. And I'm like, no, you have to do maintenance. You can't just do this like big, color correction situation and then expect to like not have to maintain it with something. And that's very much what happens in business, especially salons. All salons for the most part that I know of anyway are opened by hairstylists. So that is that requires a new set of skills, and it requires, ongoing education for you as a business owner. You're now a business owner, not just a hairstylist anymore. And that requires maintenance of your business. I'm not talking about like fixing the AC unit or whatever. That's obviously part of it. But, making sure that you're able to maintain your business on a week to week, month to month basis. So some of the things, like some of the challenges that we're hearing from salons and honestly, I'm just going to kind of keep it generic, businesses in general. If you have a small business, you are likely facing these two challenges, right? So retail sales are definitely down with small businesses. We've talked about this before. The client frequency of visit has either been lessened, or there is almost like the client has downsold themselves into like something else. Like they're still coming in, they're still a customer, totally, right? your business is important to them. It's part of their life, getting their hair done, whether it be getting their hair done, getting their nails done, whatever it might be, lashes, etc. I have a friend that owns a boutique. Retail's down, totally down. And so when retail goes down, right, that's either that the client is also making adjustments very similar to their service. They may choose to, okay, well, I'm going to get the partial instead of the full now. The client might decide, well, I'm not going to buy Orbe anymore. I'm actually going to now buy, I don't know, something else, right? Chris Siness, who knows? So there's accommodations. Is the client still washing their hair? Yes. Are they washing it with something different? Likely. So same thing with the service. So when you're dealing with retail, it's important to have options, because if you just have one thing that you're selling and that's it, like you just have this brand and that's it, and there's no flexibility on, well, what if they may not want to pay that? Like, we always should have the downsell, right? So in our salons, we have 3 brands, and the reason we do that, and they're not all the same price, they're all different brands at different price points, and they have different values associated with them, and so that way our team has options. We also are giving our client options. What type of as far as strategies for sales, because I know that's obviously right up your alley, what type of strategies do you think sales wise that these salon owners and stylists could utilize to be able to not feel this challenge as much?
Mm-hmm. Love that question. So sales, I love it. It's, I'm good at it, and I love being sold things. I love selling things. I enjoy the process. You got to get good at sales. If you have a small business, you got to know how to drive leads to your company. You got to know how to convert those leads. If you don't know how to convert, you're like, oh, I don't like sales, then your business is gonna not work. So you need to be inquisitive and curious about sales. And back in the day, sales has a bad rap, because back in the day it was high pressure tactics and strategies and things like that, used car salesman vibes kind of thing. And that's what it was. That's what it was. That's how sales was happening. It is different now. You have a more educated buyer because people have access to the internet and they have a lot of options. So the way you compete with that is you have to be authentic in driving a relationship. So people buy things from people they know, like, and trust. So they have to know, like, and trust the person that is selling them the retail, not you. If it's you, okay, but it's got to be the team. They got to know, like, trust the team. The team's got to offer them something that's going to solve a problem. And people don't buy on price. They purchase on value. So the problem needs to be deep enough for them to want to purchase something to fix said problem. If the problem is really not a big deal, like, oh, my hair is a little frizzy, like, they're not going to buy a $200 product to fix some kind of sort of frizzy hair. You got to get into what I call the anchor pain underneath what people's problems are, because you got the problem, but there's something that's deeper that they're trying to solve. But oftentimes that they don't know that themselves. So the beautiful thing about the American economy is it's people talking to each other, trade money for product and service. So I love a salon because people are talking all the time. There's just it's baked into the business itself. So if the team can do a good job of allowing the customer to kind of peel that onion in regard to what problems that they're having and how that impacts them, like what's the impact having on them with this problem, and then offering them a solution to that, then they will be able to convert more people. And it's just you're not trying to trick anyone. You're not trying to manipulate anyone. You're trying to understand the problem and understand the problem better. Be a better listener. Don't talk about all the features and benefits of all these things. They don't care. You'll create buyers. You'll create sales resistance if you try to sell from features and benefits. What's the problem? How are we going to solve the problem? And then make the offer them to purchase the product. And it might sound like this at a salon. Well, Rachel, I could do it, but like, what would you say? You
want to pretend you're the client?
Sure.
And I'm the stylist? Okay. What challenges are you facing with your hair currently?
I just can't manage it. It's just not looking the way I want it to look. I can't do what we do here at home. I'd like to be able to do it 60% as good as you do it at home, but I just can't get it to lay the way I want.
So at that point, I would likely say, so tell me about the products you're using at home and which products you're using. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, I'm not really using anything, I'd be like, okay, obvious, like let's definitely, like, we can fix that. That's easy. Like I've got what you need up front. I can set a couple products aside. But my main thing for you, client, is that I don't want to clutter up your bathroom counter. I want to make sure that you have like 1 or 2 products that work really, really well to keep it simple for you. That way you don't get overwhelmed, and I can count on you using them every single day. Does that sound like something that would work for you?
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. So then I would probably dive into like specifically what is the challenge, because the client's going to be kind of surface level when they're talking about their hair. And so you want to say, okay, like what specifically, like if you had to describe, like, is it frizziness? Is it this? Is it that? Like sometimes you have to give them kind of like a buffet of options, like just a few, and then let them tell you which one. And then you're going to say, well, okay, got it. Yeah, totally understand. I used to struggle with that too. Or my mom struggles with that, or like, someone that has struggled with whatever it is they're struggling with. Like what I actually got her started using was this. It made such a huge difference. Let's try it on you today. And if you like it, I can throw it in the bag for you on the way out. Like it's cool. It's smooth. I'm showing like basically a case study, if you will, that it worked for someone else with the same problem, and I know it worked for her. I'm even going to allow him to try it, and then obviously the keyword, like, throw it in a bag for you on the way out. It seems like real cool. It's convenient. It's not time consuming. It's honestly, we say stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, and when it comes down to, you grab the product, hand it to them. Maybe like, do you want to take it home? Put it in
their hand. Yeah. And honestly, you could say that. You could say, what I like to do is like called an assumed sale. So I'll set sorry to any of my clients watching this. Sorry, this is what I do. But anyways, I'll take the products, I'll put them on the counter, and I'll say, awesome. So these are the products you're using today. When you're at home, I want you to use this one like this, and only use like a quarter size. Like I'm telling them, like, when you're at home, this is what you're going to do with this product. And they're like nodding. They're like, yeah, okay. And then it's not even like, I'm not even like asking if they want to take it home. And at that point, I'll just say to whoever's checking out the client, usually we have our assistants on a rotation, so they work front desk. But at that point, I'm like, hey, Caitlin, awesome. So, this is Kelly. We're going to go ahead and, I want to see her back in 6 weeks. We'll do the same thing we did today. And these are the products that I want her to go home with today. And like, bye, Kelly. Love you. See you next week. Have a great time on your vacation, etc. And then I'm out. I'm going to my next client. I'm going to go clean up, use the bathroom, eat, whatever. So I'm passing the baton to Caitlin. I just told Caitlin in front of my client what I want done and what I want her to go home with to maintain her look. That is the secret sauce right there, is that stuff. It is not, do you need any retail today? Do not ask that. I know you as the owner probably know not to ask that. Your team, if you actually are like listening to your team, I can promise you that's exactly what's going on up front. If you're seeing your retail sales, like some people are killing it, some people like have non-existent retail sales, I would encourage you to pair them up together and let the one who's not selling shadow the one that is. And I can promise you they're saying much different verbiage to their clients. And that's why you're getting a different result. So the retail thing, that's easily fixable, right? That's just a verbiage thing. It's more of a confidence issue, or lack of, I should say. The other piece to this, which is really where you start to see the most gap of like what you did last month, the month before, like when you start seeing like big declines of your sales, your overall sales, it's likely not coming just from retail. That's obviously an important piece, but it's likely coming from your service sales. And the service sales is also what significantly impacts the stylist and their paychecks, right? So that can cause even more problems for you if those checks aren't, semi-consistent with what they're used to receiving. So the downselling of less costly services. So now I would hope that your stylists aren't downselling their own service to a different service than what was booked. I would hope that it's the other way around. They're upselling, upgrading, etc., to a higher level service at a higher price point. But most times when they're doing the consultation, I see this a lot. And even in our salons, sometimes I'll catch the girls doing this. And I'm like, do you realize what you just did? And they're like, oh, crap. I'm like, yeah, she came in for a full. You're asking her if she like, so how are you liking everything? Did you want to do the full today? Did you want to do something else? I'm like, why even put that thought in her head? If she's booked for a full and that's the thing, like, let's do that. You know, you've got a 4-hour block of time with her. Why are you downselling her without it even being her idea to a 2-hour service? I see that. And sometimes it's because there's one of two things going on. The stylist is, I don't know, trying to get out of work early or something. I have no idea. Like just, it's like, you're at work. This is your schedule. This is the time frames we both agreed that you would be here. And this, like, you know, downsell is now going, if it's happening once a day, every day, good Lord, that's going to be like a huge decline on their paycheck.
So to get to $1 million, to get your business to $1 million, like, you got to be good at selling your services and product, and your team has got to be good at selling your services and product. And not a lot of emphasis is put onto what she's talking about, which what I kind of frame it up as the conversion conversation that's had from the client to checking out. And has this been managed? Has this been optimized? Has this been, is it organic? Is it authentic? Kind of thing. You're not trying to push products or push services. You're solving problems. So when you get really good at solving problems and you make the offer, then you're going to get yeses or you're going to get no's. And don't be afraid of no's. You're going to get no's. You're going to get more no's this year. But if you're not making the offer and you're not paying attention to the straight line path of this conversion conversation, like, am I walking the client to the best possible services and products that I can every time, each day, every week, every month? If you're not sure, the answer is no.
Right.
So you got to dial this in. You got to get your team dialed in. You got to manage. You got to listen. You got to make sure that they're having these conversations in a streamline so you can do more services. When you do this, because it's kind of this invisible thing, like, these conversations aren't sitting on a shelf. You got to, it's in the ether. It's like it's like the thing that weaves everything together are these conversations, and no one's really training or developing them. You
know, you as the owner, you can't be around for every conversation. You just can't. So what you can do is you can have money moves meetings with your team. You can do a monthly education, something in the morning with tacos. That's what we do. We're doing it next Monday, right before a haircut class. We have a money moves class. And I can tell you, the girls that come to the class that learn the information I can promise you there's going to be an uptick on their paycheck the following pay periods. And the ones that decide not to come, right? They missed the memo. They didn't get the training. Therefore, it's not going to be as fresh. They're not going to be as actionable on it. So do that with your team, but also role playing is so important. So similar to what we just did a second ago, do that with your team, you know, and we do this every single quarter. We have a mandatory education day. We get together with everybody, usually from 8:30 to 3. We have breakfast. We have like our own little mini hair show, if you will. So we have like different time slots where, you know, we might have Orbe for product knowledge. We might have a hair cutting session. Hannah's teaching. I might do extension training. I might, you know, teach one of our looks. And then the very last thing of the day, we always do some sort of team building exercise, right? And that usually consists of role playing and something relating to sales. You've got to touch sales every single time with your team. Otherwise, you're not like that skill, just like if you use it or lose it, like
it's a skill.
It's not going to go well. Like in every single time we have a class on either a certain technique, a certain product line, there's always an uptick on sales every single time. Every time we have an Orbe class, bam, our sales go up in Orbe. Our sales go down in Arnco. If we have an Arnco class, our sales go up in Arnco. I mean, so it's like that data is there if you pay attention to it and you look for it. So really, like, look at what is actually working in your business. And like, what little things are you doing that yield big results? So one of the things, like if you have a client, let's say that the client frequency of visits going down, right? Let's say she's coming in every 8 weeks instead of every 6 weeks now, or every 12 weeks instead of every 8 weeks. Okay. If you do the math on that, like per client, per stylist, over the course of the whole year, that's a lot of money. I mean, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that is not happening for one of two reasons. Either the rebooking isn't being initiated and happening by the stylist or the front desk. That's very, very common. And or the client is choosing to extend her time frames. And that's also fine. Like if that is what she needs to stay in budget and be able to continue to come to the salon, so be it. But what we can do if every single time is if we show more value, we are making offers like Drew said. We are offering treatments, we're offering trims, we're, easy, quick, very impulse buying type decisions that do make a difference. They do benefit from that. You're going to be able to merge that gap quite a bit. Instead of that client maybe spending $200 usually 7 times a year, now she's coming 4 times a year. It's like, well, how can we make up for it on the in-between, right? So, but it's important that you guys evolve or you will get left behind. And I'm going to be very honest with you. You must evolve or you will get left behind in anything, in your technique. I mean, this applies in your business, with technology, with marketing, with sales. All of this stuff is so, so important. So another thing that we really like to do, which Drew actually, he was on a call yesterday with somebody locally, is just collaborating with other small business owners and just like building relationships. I was also on a small business call yesterday with a marketing person. Her name's Monet. She's great. And just talking with her and then Drew talking with Chris, like it's important to have relationships and to create collaboration in your area. So it's important that people shop small and they support local. It's extremely important, especially if you're seeing any type of downward turn of your sales or anything like that. It's important that you really think about who is your target audience, who are you targeting with your time, your efforts, and or money if you're doing ads, and also what other local businesses around you are also targeting probably the same exact client avatar, and Drew can talk a little bit on ads and collaboration, but you guys, like, really collaborating organically is always going to yield like the most high quality of results from whatever your efforts are.
The money that you make from your company, invest it back into your company. I was watching a guy and he just got a Lambo and cool, and I love cars. I love anything with wheels on them. However, we're just not like, we could have done that too and then start pushing all this content with cool cars and doing this and doing that. But what we decided to do is reinvest back into our organic marketing. So we have Josh instead of a Lambo.
I think, honestly, I know there's like so many people on Instagram that do the whole like power couple Lambo.
It's like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to
shit?
Do?
I'm kind of grossed out by it, if I'm honest.
Some people dig it, but
I think that car is way too small. We have 4 kids. There's no freaking way that we're gonna car seat in that thing. That's just not happening.
Exactly.
I like the Yukon. So,
but with that, like, if you invest back into your business, what do you really want to do? Do you really want to grow a business, or do you want to just look like you have a big business? Like, because the thing that you need to do to put money back in, it's going to be putting money back into educating yourself on these types of things. It's going to be getting the right people in the right seats to be able to produce more content. We know this all the time. Are you actually doing things to produce more content, or are you just watching more content about creating more content? I walked in the break room yesterday, and we have an amazing stylist. Her name's Abby. She's the cutest thing ever, and she's great. She's no complaints. She's awesome. I walk in the break room and she's like on her phone, and then Destiny's on her phone, and Caitlin's on her phone, and Darby of course is on her phone because she's just social media. And I'm like, has anyone posted today? And they're all like, looked at me, and I'm like, come on. I was like, so you guys are all consuming content right now? You're not creating content right now? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, and they all ended up doing their posts. And I was like, I tell you guys this because I love you. Like, it's, and you can get back to being a consumer of content in 5 minutes, and what Destiny said, she's like, I'm looking for something to post. And I'm like, stop looking, stop overthinking it. Just post. You probably have thousands of photos of hair on your phone.
Post something and take you 90 seconds and then go back to laughing it up on your TikToks or whatever. But yeah, consuming content versus creating.
You gotta be careful. Like if you're just scrolling in a break room, like you're not doing a damn thing for yourself. Or your salon. So, or if that's a common theme that you see, and you're gonna see it. No one's gonna be posting content all day. I would, like, if I was a stylist and I needed to grow, like, I would be posting shit constantly, all the time, every day, always.
Tell them what you really say if you were a stylist.
What do you mean?
If you were a stylist.
Oh, if that was like my one thing.
Say it how you told me in the car one day.
I would slay.
I was like, oh my God, he said that really, really good.
Yeah, I would. Because if you're doing one thing.
He freaking would. He'd have a line around the block. He'd be like the Zohan. Is that the guy?
I would have a whole, yeah.
Well, not like that.
Zohan.
I wouldn't allow that. But like, but think about it. Think about that movie with, what was it? No, it wasn't Adam Sandler. What's that guy's name?
Zoolander?
No. The Zohan.
Mean.
No. The guy had a line around the block of people wanting to see him. I mean, obviously, it was a bunch of old ladies and they thought he was sexy, but like, still.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever's clever. Do it.
But like, Drew would definitely, like, if he was a stylist, he would 1,000% crush it because he knows his stuff when it comes to sales and marketing and relationship building. And, that's so important in any business. Like, even if, let's say, I don't know, I mean, not that we would never be doing what we're doing, but like if we had to, like, if we lost it all and we had to go start up a new business and we were not allowed to do it in the beauty industry, we were going to do it somewhere else, we would still like take everything that we've done here and we could rebuild something really freaking great over there because it still circles back to sales and marketing.
Yep. So if you're just doing one thing, it's simple. The reason why I say that I would do well with it, because if you're just doing one thing, it's more streamlined, it's more simple. We're doing 100 things right now. So to have a calendar, and the goal is like, I want my calendar as colorful as possible, and I would be driving people to my appointments, to my books, to schedule. They would not reschedule because I wouldn't let them, because they're not going to go home and sit in a rocking chair and like, I wonder what Drew's schedule is going to be. They're going to forget because their kid's going to bite someone at school and they're going to get pulled back into their life, Yeah. So I would have them reschedule, and I would catch the client and connect with them, show them a good time, be a positive influence in their life, and then book out. It's just, you don't want to sit around and wait. You do not have time. There's no time to wait for people to come in. You have to drive them to your business.
I literally just went to the orthodontist this morning before we got here, and
you have your teeth.
No, I don't know why they gave those to me.
Is it orange? Yellow.
They're not my teeth. They're impressions.
Whose teeth?
No. They're
Did they give you?
No, they're my teeth. They're my teeth, but they're impressions of my teeth. And they made me a retainer, and they were like, and don't forget this. And they like hand it to me, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's like basically a yellow mold of my bottom jaw, which is strange. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? And they're like, oh, just in case like you ever lose your retainer and we need to like re-pour it or remake a new one. And I was like, can't you just keep this? Yeah, like, don't you have like a filing cabinet or something? Like with other people's teeth, you could just put this in. And so no, I did not bring that with me, but gross thing. You want to tell them what you did?
Oh yeah, I put your teeth in on my teeth.
So gross. When he did it, he put it in like upside down. So I was like, babe, those are my bottom teeth. And he was like, oh.
Put it right.
Oh my God.
Dentures.
Disgusting. So anyways, the orthodontist though, when I went to the orthodontist, it wasn't because I called. I'm like, oh, I need to get my retainer. They called me. Finally, after freaking a year and a half, guys. I have a 1-year-old. It's been over a year and a half since I'd gone to the orthodontist. Didn't really have an issue. My teeth are straight, didn't have a problem, but my bottom like built-in retainer have fallen out, and I had called about it. They didn't have availability. I was like, I'll call again another time. Did I? No. So they finally reached out to me.
But you wanted to. It's not like you meant to.
Yes, I wanted to. Yeah. Totally. I'm busy. I have kids. I have businesses.
To come in.
Yes, people want to come in. And I will tell you, I was so grateful that they freaking called me to reach out to book me for my orthodontist appointment so I can get my retainer that fell out a year and a half ago back in my mouth. And guess what? It's in my mouth. And now guess what? My teeth are not going to ever have a chance of not being straight.
Yeah. And if they didn't, she might end up with French bulldog teeth.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Bottom, you know how their teeth are all, like, Lewis's teeth are jacked.
Lewis's teeth are jacked. We'll put a picture of Lewis here. But the point is like, it doesn't matter if it's a salon, an orthodontist, a dentist, a nail salon, or like, look, I don't have my nails done right now. If my nail salon called me or texted me and they're like, hey, Rach, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Like, you should come in. I'd be like, yes, my nails look like a squirrel's been chewing on them. I need to come in. I would be so, they look at them. They're real bad. I have to have nails on or I'll pick them because of my stress level. But anyways, I would be so glad to hear from them. I wouldn't be like, ew, why is my nail salon calling me? Like, I don't know what people think about, like, I don't know what you guys think about, like, your front desk or what your front desk thinks about calling clients. The client's never going to be like, ew, why is the beauty lounge calling me? They're going to be like, oh, beauty lounge is calling me. Hello. Like, it's going to be like a convenience. Like, your front desk is like a liaison to get your clients back in. So let's get on the phone. Let's make messages happen. Like, that is so important. We have messages and calls happening every single day. If I have automation set up, when someone cancels or cancels without rescheduling, I get an automation. My front desk is calling them to rebook them. And guess what? If they don't answer the phone, they leave a message. And they also message them in Boulevard. So it's like we're reaching out. And beyond that, we're also following up. And just like my retainer situation, your client will be very glad that you reached out and that you noticed they hadn't been in 6 months. And you know they either got hella roots or they went somewhere else. You'll never know unless you pick up the phone.
And you have to do, in tough times, to kind of connect this to what we're talking about, you're going to have to do this more. You're going to have to do it every double day or triple what you're currently doing, and you're going to get more non-responses. People don't do it because they get rejected, and they're like, oh, this doesn't work. It does work. You have to do it consistently. You have to do it more. So it's normal when things tighten down or an election year, things get weird, but you have to keep doing this. If you don't do this, it's going to be bad news bears for your top and bottom lines. You got to do it.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not like you're like cold calling these people. Like, these people have come in, like, they've been in your salon home. They've been a guest of yours. So it's not like, you know, this random person in the yellow page or white pages, whatever it was, that you call and you're like, hey.
The green sheets.
Yeah.
Green sheets brings you buyers. Do you remember that?
I don't know. That's before my time. Okay, now that you sing it, I think I remember it. But like, that is not what this is. Like, these people are very, very warm, very, very hot leads, and especially the more times they've seen you, the hotter leads they are. Go fish in your own pond. Like, it's so important because your clients will appreciate it. Like, they will, and I mean, most people, they leave the salon. If they didn't rebook, it's because they likely weren't even asked. They weren't even like, it wasn't even initiated. Therefore, they're like on to the next. I have so many clients that are moms and they're like, you know, they book their hair appointment around, you know, carpool or sports or football or dance or whatever, just like me. And it's like, and if I really think back to it, like, had the orthodontist actually pre-booked me the last time I went there, I would have definitely come back.
For sure.
But I just didn't get pre-booked. I don't know. And maybe it was my fault. Maybe I was like, I gotta go. I'll call. And I never called, right? So luckily they called me a year and a half later and bam, I got a retainer in my mouth.
Yep. So if you want more, a deeper dive into this, Josh, do you remember what episode it was that we did the 2-part marketing thing? 13, 14, yeah. What we're talking about now aligns with exactly what I was talking about on those 2 episodes. So this is what we're really discussing here is the first way to drive cash. It's the one-to-one warm reach out. So I dive into these in a 2-part series heavily, and it's worth a listen. If you haven't listened to episode 13, 14, you want to go deeper into this, check them out. I I go through it. So I think I get like winded because I'm talking so much.
Because you were sick that week.
I was sick and it was just me. So I was like in here because you're on a call. So I was like,
sorry,
having trouble getting through it, but we got through it and it's there.
You got through it.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is being creative. Okay. So when you're trying to increase sales, right? You want to definitely offer again, back to the more value thing, gift with purchases, GWPs. Okay. So this could be free treatments. This could be, if you carry Orbe, obviously they have an amazing, huge, gorgeous selection of gift with purchases. Yeah, it's going to cost you a couple bucks. Who cares? If it helps you make a sale you wouldn't have otherwise made, it's worth the $1 or $2 for the gift with purchase. So if your clients buy 2, they get this free, right? That is something Amazon is not going to give your client. So if your client is buying their products on Amazon, right? Boo. Like, that's going to be important that you're offering them something different. Why would they buy from you versus Amazon? Well, number one, you're in my chair right now. It's right there. You can grab it on the way out. You don't have to wait for the Amazon package to arrive to your house. You also can support a small business, right? If you're not talking about why you need your clients' support and sales, your clients are not going to think about it. They don't realize sometimes in the moment, you are a very small business. Like, some of you guys watching this might be like, oh, Rachel and Drew's business is big. It's not. We are a small business, just like everybody else. We have 54 employees across 2 companies. That's it. Like, we're not like Nordstrom.
There's an actual number, but you got to have like 300 or 500 employees to be not a small business.
Yeah. So
you have 280 employees, you're still a small business.
Yeah. So you're a small business, right? Like, so make sure that you're discussing and talking like frequently about supporting small, shopping local. We actually have these really cool vinyls on our mirrors that we have printed, and then we swap them out every so often. You can get things printed from Alpha Graphics. They have locations all over the country, and we'll design little things on Canva and we'll have them printed, and it says shop small, support local. Your stylist knows best. Like, we'll have like little things like that. Another thing, this is one of Drew's favorites, is that they get a free treatment, right? If they're a new client, they get a free treatment. If they leave a review, they get a free treatment. So those are, tell them what you did the other day.
Yeah, give them something, and it just works, but no one does it. And I will dive in and do a cold outreach, because cold outreach is the hardest one. So if you can, that's why
he does it in his downtime.
Yeah, if you can go on Facebook and drum up a client from a group who doesn't know who you are from anyone, and you can book them in your salon, you're a G. And I can do that. So I did that the other day. Cross your fingers. Hopefully she shows up for her appointment, because you got attrition rates and you got all that to deal with. So,
yeah.
However, you want to give them something that they normally pay for, and it's got to be legit. It can't be some trick. It can't be some BS, So here's what I did. I was in a group. It's a large group called, what's the Conroe group? Conroe. I love Conroe.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Hot Girl Walks of Conroe. That's another
what is
group.
That?
I don't know. I've never been on any of these walks, but apparently it's
Hot Girl Walks.
I don't understand. It's just like a bunch of girls that get. Have you heard of this? I've never gone. I've been invited, but I was like,
Hot Girl Walks.
Hot Girl Walks. Apparently, It's a bunch of women. Some of them bring their strollers and their babies, and they just go on a walk. And they call themselves hot girls because they're on a walk. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So, Hot Girl Walks of Conroe, Hot Girl Walks of Woodlands.
There's a community for you.
Yeah, maybe. So sorry if your search brings up other things, but
hot girl treatment. Here you go.
Yeah.
Come on,
come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody. Like, yes, that's to Mike.
I love Mike. Oh my gosh. Okay, stay on task.
Really, what I did was you go into a group, and then she was. They're always looking for stuff, and I'm just always poking around, sometimes in the marketplace and groups and things like that. And I'm not really looking for anything specific. I'm just like, what's going on? What are people talking about? So she was posting a picture. I saw hair. I was like, what's going on? She's looking for a stylist to do this particular kind of like fiery red look, and there's like 80 comments under her post. And then like, I would like to be considered. Go here, check out this place. She's the bomb. She's this. And I just reached out to her directly. I'm like, hey, my wife and I own a salon in Conroe. Want to give you a free treatment. come check out what we got going on. If you dig it, we can talk about the color. If not, just come get the treatment.
Yeah.
That was it. And she's like, I would love to come in. I showed her like a picture. I gave her some context because she has no idea who the heck I am, So showed her that address, and she's like, this looks amazing. I'd love to come in. I'm like, cool. What's a good day for you? I isolated the day and then AM or PM. She's like, let's do PM. I'm like, cool. What's a good, let's do 3 p.m. on this day. And then I got her email and phone, and then I had the team book it. Like, I don't want to send her a booking link because she's going to, every time you have someone do an extra thing, there's a 50% drop off rate.
Yep.
So we did what's called a manual booking, and I scheduled her, and hopefully she comes in. And I've done this a few times, but that needs to be done like all day long. Like, you need a full-time person doing that all the time.
And he walked in the salon, and he's like, hey, Allie, you want a new client? And she's like, yeah, I do. And he started talking to her about it. He filled her in. He gave her the information, and she's like going to see this new client. So look, if you don't ask, you don't get. That is, like, I would say the one thing that I like the main thing that I have learned from my mom is like the phrase, if you don't ask, you don't get. And like the worst that somebody can say is no. Really, that is the worst. If they left you on red, okay, whatever, like, you were nice, you offered her something, but that's what made Drew stand out in the crowd among 84 other people commenting on this post, was that he was, number one, willing to message her, not just tagging a salon. It's like,
and I wasn't promoting anything either.
No, I was offering her something.
I was giving her something of value. So you got to give them something of value, and it's got to be real. Free treatment's easy.
And a free treatment costs us like maybe $1, like literally $1, $2, depending on which treatment they decide to do. And it yields huge results. And worst case scenario, she doesn't book for the color. No big deal. She got to experience us. She got to come in. Allie got to do the service. She got to build a relationship. And I can promise you someday, one day, that person will come back. Maybe they buy something on the way out. I mean, there's so many things that can happen.
That's the game. Just get them there, do the treatment, build a relationship, have them have a great experience. The goal is not to upsell them on color then. She's going to talk about her color, but we're coming in for the free treatment, and then we'll discuss.
And she's getting the value of a free consultation. We do charge for consultations, but it applies towards the visit, because we're just obviously trying to protect the client's time. The stylist time. So,
and you can just ask, like, do you want to do a color consultation? It's
while you're here.
Treatment's free,
Yeah.
But if you want to do it, we can knock it out.
Yeah, and if they're weird about it, obviously you can be like, actually, you know what? Let's just do it. Like, you're here, I'm here. I don't have a client in the next 15 minutes. Like, let's just do it. So yeah, just again, this all circles back to showing more value, providing great service, creating relationships. That's literally the secret sauce of opening, running, and scaling a business. So the next thing that's really important to us, especially if if you're kind of going through a rough time with the economy and everything, is taking care of your team. Okay. So, one of the things that we do every single year, like clockwork, is we identify what their income goal needs are, and we reverse engineer the goal into what they need to do daily, weekly, monthly, etc., to hit their goal. And I will tell you, by sitting down, instead of it being a conversation where I'm like, you need to do this, you need to do more of that, your sales are down, your this is down. Like, nobody wants to sit on the receiving end of that. So I ask them, so what do you want to accomplish this year? What's on your radar? What are you excited about? What do you and your husband want to achieve this year? Because really your business is just the place where they earn income, right? So that shows them that, like, oh, this is my job. This is where I earn income. And with this income, I then go build my life, right? So that's what that looks like. And so when you simplify it like that, it allows you to really see, and for them to see especially, that it's okay to talk about money. I can talk to Rachel about money. Rachel can talk to me about money. And, I'm expected to produce here in this business, right? We are also expected to produce for them as well. So this earns maximum trust and loyalty with your team. And that's super, super important to keep your team motivated and happy during tougher times. It really is, because, life's hard most times, and for them to know that you are there to support them and you are there to help them figure out how to navigate through whatever it is that they're going through. You're not just there to dog on them when it comes to their sales or retail, that you're actually there to help them strategize, that where there's a will, there's a way. And if they have will, I will help them find their way. That is exactly how you take care of your employees. And that's how you get people celebrating 5-year anniversaries, 6, 7, 8, like what we have in our salons is through that. It's not through, this is just a business relationship. Like, it's not just that. Like, you develop your leadership, you develop the trust and the loyalty, and you've got to have the know, like, trust with your team too, in order to get them to really buy in and believe in what you're doing. Very true.
There's so much to do and not to do when you're talking to the team and driving the team. Like, everyone's going to have goals. It can't be about what you're trying to do, what you're trying to chase money. If you chase money, it's like a cat. It's gonna run. Like, you're never gonna catch it. Mm-hmm. So driving value creates an income level. And how can you drive value is you help your team hit their goals. Like Rachel was saying, that's a huge component of driving cash flow into a company.
And it's important also, we've got one more for you, planning ahead. So planning ahead is not like thinking ahead, okay? Thinking ahead is also important, but actually planning ahead and getting clear on what your cash flow needs to be able to support your overhead expenses and things like that. One of the things that I like to do as well, like if, let's say the salon didn't have as awesome of a month, right? Like January for most salons, like isn't as awesome, because if they didn't come in November, they came in December. And if they didn't come in November, December, like the last pickings is in January. So
pickings.
So when you can sell your back bar instead of retail, like sometimes you may have a tighter month and you're like, okay, I got all these hourly people I still got to pay. Or maybe you might choose like us. You're like, man, I don't want to have to cut my hourly people's hours because our sales weren't quite where we needed them to be. So sometimes what we'll do is we will actually, if we have a large amount of back bar of certain products, instead of ordering that product again, like the retail version of that product, we'll order the back bar version of that product, or we'll sell the back bar, obviously unopened ones that we have. It's the same thing. I don't really care if my rep is upset with me about it. I am going to make sure that I can provide income for my team that they can count on. And obviously on the ownership side of things, we're going to be really role playing, increasing our role playing and posting and, offers and all kinds of stuff to drive sales. But we want to make sure that, if there are little adjustments or little tricks that we can do to, eliminate how much cash flow is going out and come in way under budget for retail, that's what we'll do. So you can cash flow plan ahead, sell back bar instead of buying retail if things are a little tight. And then obviously the gift with purchases certainly helps increase the quantity of products sold. All right, lastly, we want to talk to you guys about just a couple of takeaways, okay? So if you kind of blacked out and forgot everything we said, the only thing we want you guys to really remember is that history always repeats itself. And, that is definitely true. Like, what goes up must come down and what goes down must come up. So if your sales are down, obviously, and you're identifying it, you're not living in an alternate universe, you're actually like, yeah, I see it, it's down, I acknowledge it. I'm going to write down all these things Rachel and Drew said. I'm going to put them into action. Like, those things are going to come up. They have to. It's only when you turn away and you're working on other stuff that certain things start to kind of slip. So you've got to come back to it constantly. That maintenance of your business is super important. Having monthly meetings with your team is super important. And also, if you don't have a profit and loss statement, you need to have if you don't have a CPA that's giving you a profit and loss statement, you need to fire your CPA. You have got to have a profit and loss statement every single month that you can look at. And I would encourage you to go line by line on your bank account and your credit card statement every single month. I actually go through ours every single week because we have 3 companies. So I go through them every single month, multiple times. And I am screenshotting, I'm assigning tasks for our EA to cancel, charge back, unsubscribe, like renegotiate. Like I have this whole like color coded thing, accounting ledger of what I want done. So nobody is going to do that for you unless you have a CFO of your business, which we don't even have a CFO of our businesses. We are the CFO of our business. That's us. Yeah. Nobody's going to do that for you. Your accountant's not going to do it for you. Your accountant's not going to advise you or tell you how to grow your business. All your accountant's going to do is reconcile your books, categorize everything, and try to minimize your taxes. That's literally it. So any accountant that's going to promise you otherwise is a liar.
They're going to look at what you did, and they're not going to tell you what to do to grow.
Yeah, they're just going to. You're always going to be looking in the rearview mirror if you're waiting on the CPA. You know, and I mean, we've certainly outgrown lots of CPAs over the last few years, especially, but you're always gonna be looking in the rearview mirror. You have to at least be on the same road as wherever your expenses are. So looking at them every single week, and I do this every single Monday morning. I wake up pretty early, especially on Mondays. I have a work block between like 4:30 and 6:30 a.m. Maybe you think I'm nuts, but I like getting up. It's quiet. Nobody needs me. I can get in there and I can start looking at everything. And that is when I can identify problems. I can identify duplicate charges. There's all kinds of things, but you won't know unless you look. Okay, so please stop. Like, don't avoid your numbers. If you're scared of your numbers, you're scared to do that. Like, that's an indication that it's been a while since it's been done. So anyways, we want to just, mention here, we have a couple of different ways that if you're finding this content valuable, we have a couple of ways that you can work with us. I'm going to let Drew tell you guys about the business assessment that he built. Yeah.
So there's a business assessment. You can click below and identify where the holes in the boat are. What's your score? Break it down to 8 components in your business. Super simple stuff to understand: finance, operations, clientele, growth, marketing, leadership, things like that. So you're going to get an actual score, and don't be afraid of it. Like, if you don't score high, it's fine. I think the top score I've seen is 83%. Yeah. So even at 83%, there's low hanging fruit to make things better. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid of the assessment. It's amazing. If you've taken it before, you can take it again and then compare scores. You can take it once a month kind of thing. It's there. It's free. It's a tool. So how am I doing? How are things improving? It is great to get an understanding of where you need to focus. Find your strengths. Make your strengths stronger. So when you do this assessment, whatever the strongest thing is, fortify it. Okay, don't abandon what's working to go do something like, oh, my customer service experience is bad. I got a 12% on that. I need to develop that. Yes, but the sequence in which that you do these things are important. So make your strength stronger, because that's going to get you the quickest growth the fastest. If you just want to straight up jump on and talk about your business, you can do a strategy session with us and our team. That's going to be below that as well. So if you want to just kind of dip your toe in and see what we got going on, the assessment's going to be great for you. If you want to talk to us directly, just hop on the calendar. All right. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. See ya.